how to make t-shirt yarn and rag out of t-shirt yarn. So I'm going to show you a sample. This is a small one that we can make and with a little border around it. And this is a bigger one, I'm working on it here. And then eventually, I'll show the back. The back and the front. When you work on this project, we have two-sided, the front and the back. All the nuts are in the back. And we can also make square one or rectangle one, like that. Same principle. So first, I'm going to show how to do the t-shirt yarn, and then how to do the stitch to work in simple like that. So now we're going to show how to make the t-shirt yarn. So here I have a nice pair of scissors. It's also good, my scissors are for sewing only, otherwise they don't cut. If you cut cardboard, paper or anything else, they will not cut fabric. So it has a scissor just for your fabric. So I have a big old t-shirt here, and I'm going to open it, and we'll take the bottom part of the t-shirt where the edge is. So we're going to show how to make a t-shirt yarn. So this is a big t-shirt, so I'm going to fold it a little on the table so you get the bottom part of the t-shirt here. And then we try to start at the edge. This t-shirt is nice, it doesn't have a hem on the side, so it's even easier. So if you're right-handed, you take the scissors in your right hand and then hold the t-shirt with your left hand, and you measure about 1 inch or 3 centimeters if you use centimeter, and then you cut first at an angle to slowly edge it until you get about 1 inch or 3 centimeters, which when you hold with your thumb get about that dimension, except the first row, because of the hem, I do it a little thinner so that it will not be too thick. And then you cut around it in a loop, in circle, continuing at the edge of the bottom of the t-shirt. You continue like that, holding with your hands and moving the t-shirt forward. So we continue until you reach the beginning. That's where we started here. So when you find the place where you started, you're going to move slightly up, but keep that same length, and this time measure with your thumb that you have exactly, about 1 inch wide, which is a nice dimension to create t-shirt yarn to use for crochet, knitting or weaving. It's a nice dimension, especially if you want to make big items like bags and rags. You can make smaller items with thinner yarn, but here we're doing it for making bigger items. So you continue like that, and then you continue when every time you move, you turn your t-shirt towards you, and then you keep moving with the fabric in, and it's create a spiral going up around the t-shirt. So you're only focusing on the width of this fabric, and you're going all the way up until you reach, you've been cutting out lots of fabric, you leave all of this out until you reach under the armpits. So we've been cutting this t-shirt in loops, and now we arrive under the armpit. This is a short sleeve t-shirt, so I'm right under the armpits. Now I like to use everything I can of the t-shirt. So when I'm under the armpits, the only focus I have, I continue cutting even if it's on top of the where it's sewn, and you keeping an inch of t-shirt fabric on your left hand. If you left-handed, then it'll be on your right hand, and you cut with your left hand, so that's opposite. And then we continue like that. Continuing cutting, and you see I'm under the sleeve. You can see the hem head, and I continue as far as I can go to use the maximum of the t-shirt, and I don't focus on what's left. I only focus to get the fabric as much as possible. And if it's a long sleeve t-shirt, you can usually get also the sleeve after that. You can also use with a sweatpant, and you go one leg at a time, and then the upper part. So here I'm under the other sleeves. Probably can do one more, but I get as much as possible. Later on, when we use this this yarn, all the hem will be hidden, so it doesn't really matter. That's why it doesn't matter if you have a stain, if it has a print, or anything would be hidden in the things. So here, that's probably the last one I did. I'm going to divide, because it's thick, I'm going to divide this in two, and we do one more loop on that side. And I continue. Now on the other, under the other sleeve, maybe also the last one. Yeah, that's the last one. So then I get out here, and then I continue on the other side. That's the last one I can make, to have one long piece of t-shirt yarn. And we're almost done with this t-shirt. That's the end here. I get rid of the part where I'm touching the sleeve, but I can continue still here until I have nothing else to cut, and still continue. Always focus on what's in your left hand. There's still some fabric in your left hand, you can still continue cutting until you find there's no more fabric, and that will happen here soon when we reach the end here and at the end. So here's all the yarn we cut. All the yarn we cut is here, and this is what's left. What's left is the shoulders, the neck, and the other shoulders. Later on, if you need more fabric, you can cut little pieces and use them, but I'm going to leave that, save that for you later, or you can save it for rags. That's also what I do if I don't need to use them. But I'm going to save this piece, and then now I'm going to show you how we finish with this yarn. This is a nice yarn, and we're going to wrap it together. Okay, here is a whole yarn from one t-shirt, completely cut up in t-shirt yarn, about 1 inch wide. So we're going to roll it together. So making a little ball of yarn, and the edge first it is thick, so it's going there, and then after you finish rolling the edge, this yarn, if you stretch it a little, not every t-shirt would do that, you can see it's curling, and that makes like a real yarn to knit. So it's perfect to make it ready, but you stretch it, it's flat, you stretch it and it becomes round. It's a flat part here, a big flat part, and then when you stretch it, it becomes round. So you roll it in and then stretch a little, and then roll it in and stretch a little and roll it in. And if you want to avoid to have it too tight, which is always good with any yarn, you put your fingers underneath, roll on top of your fingers a few times, then you loop and do it to another space. That's how you save the yarn before to make it ready to use for. Okay, so we're finishing with rolling the yarn here. Another nice ball of yarn. Here I have a lot of different colors, because you can use t-shirt of different colors. So that's ball of yarn, and I have a very big one here, looks like a basketball. Bigger one. This big one is made from a sweatshirt, so it's a little thicker, so I cut it a little thinner, but it's also very nice to use because it's strong. So what we're going to do with that, I love playing with colors, so I'm going to choose colors, and